For quite some time now, I've been bringing to you the woes of the Tory party because people in the UK do not vote for a divided party. Indeed, throughout political history, the more a divided a party has been, the less, well, electorally successful it has been. And this has gone for even parties that are, well, currently make up the ruling government. And now, as I always said, you've had the ERG, the infamous party within the party, that showed that you could act this way and get away with it. And more importantly, achieve your political objectives and policy within your party without having a massive majority in the party to support your policy aims and goals. Just take the current example. Liz Truss's government is far more Brexity and surrounded by the true Brexit ultras than even Boris Johnson was. Remember, 88% of the government is now controlled by figures who are in the ERG, the European Research Group, and have wanted for years to bring forward a libertarian free market fundamentalist vision to the UK, which part of that mini budget has very, very much laid the groundwork for, which spooked the market so much, even other Tories who are like, hey, what's going on here? So before we get into the more disintegration of the Tory party, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me a Coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for watching, but thank you very much to all those people who do help and support the channel that way. And of course, down below, there is the YouTube thank you button, and of course, the YouTube subscription called the Pony Club, where you can, well, join the Pony Club and you get badges, emojis, and all sorts that you can use on the channel and in live streams as well. So, with the ERG being now fully in control, but also having a minority in control of that of a party, which is now numerous sort of sub factions within factions within one big party, you can no longer say that it is just one united Conservative Party. Those days are very well and truly gone. And Boris Johnson was indeed a person who used the ERG to climb up to his lofty position of Prime Minister. And in doing so, he encouraged other divisions within the party to start to open up. And this isn't just a recent thing. Go all the way back to 2016, even 2015, where you were talking about the divisions of, are you a Eurosceptic within the party, or are you sort of pro-European? And it came down to one very simple thing: regulations. Are you for regulations or are you against them? And a lot of Tories are, they are for regulation. They understand why regulation has to be there, hence why they support regulation. And on the other hand, you've got the other Tories, the libertarians in the party, who are just like, no, there should be absolutely no regulation whatsoever. And of course, as we always said, Boris Johnson was the grand wallpaper that was covering up the cracks within this party. Indeed, he was promising everything to all these factions, and they were buying into it. Now, that could not have lasted. It could not have lasted at all. And of course, as we said, what would happen when Johnson goes, those cracks will just expand and start to swallow the party whole. And that is what we are seeing now. Indeed, one of the best quotes I've heard recently about this is that the ringmaster has gone and now the lions are eating the clowns. And for those of you who are fans of Terry Pratchett, would know that in Ankh-Morpork there are numerous guilds that are sort of the power in the city. And of course, on sitting on top of them and controlling that power to his own ends, of course, is Lord Vetinari. But one of those, well, two of those guilds, easily being what people think what has to be one of the most important ones versus one that is very often looked down on. And that is, of course, the Assassin's Guild, but also the Fool's Guild. And strangely enough, both these prestigious institutions are sitting right next to each other. The Assassin's Guild that raise young gentlemen into, well, to be professional gentlemen, but also professional killers, ruled by a series of hard structured rules in how they perform their art. And in many ways, the Fool's Guild is almost the exact mirror image of them, taking young men and raising them to be fools. But there was always a hint that maybe the Fool's Guild was not quite what it was always seemed to be. And this, I think, is indeed the case of that quote, where we've now got sort of the lions eating the clowns. I'd very much disagree in the fact that now the ringmaster has gone, the clowns are indeed the ones eating the lions. Because, of course, when you think about sort of, creatures or animals, how we sort of romanticize them and what they mean, there is no lions in the Tory party anymore because they're gone. They're disgusted with the state of the party that is there, and those that have stayed or chosen to stay have themselves donned the very now clown makeup that is, well, partly responsible for destroying their own party. And such, the clowns are now running the circus. And unfortunately, when clowns run the circus, things do not tend to go well. And that is what we are seeing at the moment. That you have a faction that has taken over the Tory party and is intent to now impose its economic designs, policies that it's had on the UK for years. And not done in a silent way, by the way, because as always, they've been very open about what they want to do with, with said country. And this goes back years. If you may remember, when we were sort of reviewing this book all the way back in 2016, Ian Dunt's fantastic book, Brexit, What the Hell Happens Next? So there is some very worrying times coming up ahead. And we are now basically being run by absolute clowns. And they're fighting each other constantly like cat and dogs because they do not know what to do. And the problem is, when you have a party that is so fractured like that, bad things can happen. Catastrophes can come out of nowhere or sneak up upon them. Things that maybe seem small to begin with might just explode and become massive crises. And I think we are very much headed towards a housing crash. And when that happens, that is going to be disastrous for the UK because most now of the UK's wealth is invested in property. And whenever you get a housing crash, it is disastrous. Even more so for, a housing market crash would be disastrous for any country, but it's even more so for the UK because we are so invested in it. And would the Tories ever think to maybe discourage this type of investment? No, because they are primarily themselves responsible for encouraging this. And as we said before, because they are so divided, they cannot see 5 minutes of what is going to happen in front of them. And unfortunately, as I've said before, I think November, something is going to happen. All these crises that we've got ongoing, and we've got a lot, are just going to start merging together and start to make each one even worse than before. And I don't know what will happen. I don't know what will cause it, but something bad will happen. And that's when the whole Jenga tower will fall. So as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, see you all next time.